What happened on the worst day of your life? My husband Elliot had been working 60-hour weeks for months, and I had been begging him to take a single day off so we could do something as a family. When he finally agreed to a Saturday in March, our 3-year-old Kira immediately begged to see the ocean because she had fallen in love with it, but had only seen it in a picture book. We drove 2 hours to the Oregon coast, even though it was freezing outside. When we finally parked and walked down to the sand, Elliot lifted Kira onto his shoulders so she could see the waves. She gasped like she was witnessing a miracle and grabbed fistfuls of his hair to steady herself. "Big water, Daddy," she said in that tiny, amazed voice, and Elliot laughed and told her it was called the ocean. "Big ocean," she corrected herself, and I remember thinking I wanted to freeze this exact moment forever. Elliot set Kira down and they started hunting for shells while I took pictures on my phone. At one point, Kira wandered toward the water while Elliot's back was turned, and I opened my mouth to yell, but no sound came out. A wave rushed up the sand faster than I expected, and I started running toward her, watching the white foam stretch closer and closer to her. Elliot turned around and scooped her up just before the water reached her feet. "You've got to stay back, it's really cold," he said while my heart pounded in my ears. A few minutes later, Elliot wandered toward the waterline and called for Kira to come see something he found, and when I looked up from my phone, she wasn't next to me anymore. I scanned the beach and couldn't find her little pink jacket anywhere. I was about to scream her name when I finally spotted her crouched behind a small dune. She popped up and ran to Elliot as I let out a breath that felt like it had been trapped in my chest forever. He knelt down to show her a perfect sand dollar and she touched it so gently with her tiny fingers. "Can we keep it forever?" He told her of course they could because it was their special treasure now. He slipped it into his jacket pocket and started chasing her in wide circles while she shrieked with joy, her little pink puffy jacket making her look like a running marshmallow. They were about 20 feet from the waterline and I was just a few steps behind them. Then I realized I had left our snack bag about 30 feet back up the beach. I turned around to grab it because Kira would be hungry soon, and it took me maybe 15 seconds to walk there and pick it up. When I turned back around, the stretch of sand where my husband and daughter had been standing was completely empty and wet. My brain couldn't process what I was seeing because they had been right there just seconds ago. I called Elliot's name and the wind swallowed my voice. I started running toward the water because they had to be somewhere nearby. Then I noticed the water line was so much higher than it had been moments before. I screamed Kira's name over and over until my throat burned, and then a man appeared from somewhere down the beach, sprinting directly toward me. He grabbed my arms before I could run into the waves, and I fought him with everything I had, screaming that my family was out there. "I know," he kept saying while I clawed at his arms trying to break free. "I saw it happen. Help is on the way." I asked him what he saw and begged him to tell me where they went, and he just held me tighter against his chest and said he was so sorry. I begged the man to let me go find them because maybe they were still out there, and he looked me in the eyes and told me there was nothing in that water but death. He said it like he needed me to understand, like he was trying to save my life even though I hated him for it, and that's when my legs gave out completely. They found Elliot's body 3 hours later about a mile down the shore, and they found Kira the next morning tangled in kelp near some rocks. The Coast Guard investigator sat with me and explained that a sneaker wave had surged up the beach without any warning, and that these waves knock people down and drag them out in seconds. I thought about the faded warning sign I had walked past in the parking lot without bothering to read, and I understood that I would carry those 15 seconds with me for the rest of my life.